Hey everyone. Alright. So, I got a bunch of stuff done. I wanted to start the stream a little bit earlier, but I had to love on the cat for a little while. So, with that said, the stream begins now. One of the things that I was trying to figure out last night was why the mouse wheel was borked. One of the main complaints that I was having, and I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff from YouTube and stuff like that, but one of the main things that I was having was that the mouse wheel was completely unusable, right? And I was like, what's wrong with it? How did it break like that? So I was looking at all kinds of stuff, and I was like trying to figure out, and that's this one right here. All the ones with the little dot next to them are things I fixed. There's quite a few things here that I fixed or worked on, and then this is just feedback that I needed to take extra notes of, which I'll be going over in a little bit. I'm going to be talking about the mouse wheel functionality for selecting weapons first. So I'm like, you know, what's wrong with all this? And then I did realize actually that this is a little bit, I underestimated how complicated the rollover would be. And I'll work on that next, but I just want to make sure that I get this all working. So I unhooked this, and I'm going to put it in a note so that I can do the rollover. So like when you select a weapon and you mouse wheel up and there's no weapon above the number of weapon that you have currently, that it rolls back down to the first one again, so it'll like switch back to pistol. Like if you're only carrying a pistol shotgun, it would switch back to pistol again. So what I got, so I kept looking at this and I put in a print, and the answer was actually sitting right in front of my face. And I couldn't figure out why it was breaking. Well, I figured it out. So when I used the int switch, I deleted this pin when I first worked on this, right? I thought it would just be like, oh, okay, it would just start at 1 and go through to 6, and I wouldn't have to worry about 0 ever again because I deleted the pin. It actually, yeah, you can remove the execution pin. So I didn't realize that after I had like compiled the engine and like rerun the editor, that the int switch would actually put 0 back again and then just roll everything up 1. No wonder why it's broken. None of the weapons are switching correctly. It can't. All because of something that happened when I closed the editor and opened it again. So with that said, you know, who knows? Maybe it's still completely borked. Maybe something else is going on wrong with it. But that I was not expecting. So yeah, I just gotta make sure that 0 continues to exist and is just pointing to a return. Because if it's not pointing to a return, it'll probably like wig out on me and like give me like warnings and stuff. In which case, I don't want those. So this is what I need. I'll get back to this later actually. What I'll do with this is I'm gonna do the next build. Oh yeah, let me make sure chat's open. For some reason chat's not. Hey, where's my chat? There it is. Okay. Alright. So that should now compile correctly, and hopefully that problem doesn't somehow rear its head again. But this input access key binding warning is because of the action manager thing that I implemented with the options menu. So that warning is something I don't think I can solve. I don't think I can do anything about this warning. But this should now work. The only thing is that the rollover isn't there anymore. just for sanity's sake, I'm gonna go ahead and lower the music volume all the way down. Okay. Now let me equip some weapons. Alright, let's try pistol, shotgun, assault rifle. Okay. This should switch to pistol. Oh wait, that's right, it's not rolling over anymore. Shotgun, pistol, okay. And then up, down. Alright, let me try adding maybe a different weapon. Okay, this is working correctly. Let me try adding in a minigun. Might want to have a broad axe. Let's see what happens if I just put a lightning gun in there. Okay, so down. Okay. Yep. The lightning gun doesn't have a view model, so it's kind of hard to understand, but if you look at the icon on the bottom of the screen. Hey, what's up, Jacoby? How you doing, man? So, that's one, the view model thing is something I want to fix like as soon as possible. I want to get all of the weapon view models in. Alright. So this is now working again. And the rollover, I'm not exactly sure how I need to go about doing the rollover because, oh yeah, see this? This might not look like much, but that's actually my prototype idea for a mini-map. I'll go into more detail about that later because, not a mini-map, an automap. In other words, you press M and now you're looking at a map of the level. See, basically, the 0 point of the entire level is sitting down here. And you'll notice that when I move, that dot moves. In other words, this dot is me. And it's moving in relation to when I move. Now, it's pretty inefficient at how it's doing it at the moment. It's doing it's doing things poorly, but the idea that I wanted to convey is making sure that I can make relative world, take world space and then make a relative local space diorama. When I can track the positions of entities like this, then I can actually place them on a small little map that's sitting outside of the level. And then on top of this guy right here, I have a map, like a camera. So when you switch into auto map mode, you'll be looking at a diorama of the level and a position of where you are, and you'll be able to kind of like look around. But I can also experiment with the idea of doing my auto map kind of like the Division does the auto map. That's where, like, when you press the map button, it literally just shows like a fucking like thing of the world like underneath you, and you can just see it. You don't even have to go into a mode. You just like literally press M and boom, there's this like tiny miniature of the level like sitting, and you can like look at everything and be like, huh, hey, all right, I guess I'm gonna have to go over here. Actually, I'll be back. I want to do some work, get some work done. Work until your fingers bleed. I'm just kidding. I don't know why I'm being dramatic. So yeah, I'm wondering. The Division's map was fucking like amazing, and to do something like that would be just I don't even know, man. But using this, well, it's a little bit more complicated to do the Division version, because that requires me to actually have a diorama of the level, which isn't super hard because it's just a representative. It's just a representation. It doesn't need to be fully detailed, right? And I mean, I don't want my I want my auto map to be somewhat like Doom 2016's auto map. All right, let me try fucking around with the weapons a little bit. Okay, let's go from the Magnum to the minigun, which also doesn't have pistol, minigun, lightning gun. All right, let's try just the double barrel shotgun. Nothing. Okay. And then let's go straight to the grenade launcher. So I got double barrel and grenade launcher. Alright. Grenade. Oh. Okay, this is working correctly now. So that. Yep. So that thing where it fucked with the pins completely borked the entire thing. Now I'm gonna leave it like this for a little bit until next patch. So this patch, the auto weapon switching, you know, the mouse wheel weapon switching is not going to involve rollover. But I'm just gonna see if this works first. If there are no extra problems with this in its simpler form, then the next patch, I'm going to add the extra system to figure out what the final variable is on the weapons, on the selectable weapons that you have. Like, I'm gonna have to rework the logic a little bit. So, with that said, I wonder if I count as somebody watching my own stream. It's a little weird, isn't it? Because there's always one person watching. That's kind of... Yeah. Am I inflating my own stream? Like, viewer count by one? It's kind of... That's weird. Like, why would YouTube allow that? Because there's always one person watching, usually. Well, no, I've seen 0 people fairly often. Like, when I did an 8-hour stream one time, like last week, just to fuck around with it, it seemed to work. Like, it was like it went down to 0 and it would stay there for a little while and would go up to 1. I guess there's always at least one lurker, which is cool. That's totally fine. It's totally fine. Let's see, mouse wheel. Alright, so the mouse wheel functionality is now there. Rollover is on hold until next patch. So I'm gonna see if that all works. Now I'm also I'm gonna take a look at some feedback that I got from a couple of people on YouTube. Let's see, hold on a second. There's some feedback that I got that was really awesome and raises a bunch of questions that maybe I should probably wait until more people get on, if more people do come on. But here it is in community. At least there'll be a record of me going over these this feedback. All right, the first bit of feedback I was looking over is here. Okay, tested out the new build, only lasted the first section. A few things. I don't like the weapon spread on level 1 pistol. I decreased the spread even, too. I don't think random weapon spread should be in any arena shooter. I disagree with that. Good arena shooters encourage movement. Random spread encourages players not to move. That's not true. If the random spread is based on movement, then I completely agree with you. But none of the random spread that I have is based on movement. It's all based on, like, unique aspects about the weapon and just the stats of the gun. Like, nothing else is really affected. It's very much like Brutal Doom, I think. Except some guns become more accurate when you're firing them. Some of them become less when you fire them. Like the submachine gun becomes less accurate. It blooms. But like there's really nothing to discourage movement. In fact, spread encourages movement because you have to sometimes get in closer. Like if everything's a bullet laser, then you can snipe somebody with a pistol. So there's some kind of interesting. Okay, I died. Let's see. Let me go through here. Again, in the channeling wave, the player is restricted to a small space. Now I'm gonna show what I did last night. I completely agree, by the way. It was a pretty small space. It was pretty cramped. Let's see how this space, because I reworked the entire space. The entire space is now like this. So I doubled the size of it. I added pillars so that you have places to hide, and movement is a little bit more important. The enemies, it should feel a lot more like a combat arena now. It feels a lot better when I'm in it. It might have some walls that are maybe just a tad sticky, but you walk into this, you kind of feel a little bit more like there's a, this is a battle arena now. You channel this, and the monsters, nothing's really changed about the monsters spawning, but it does change the positions of the spawns and stuff like that. And you have a couple more barrels than before. Actually, it's just one more barrel. I added one more barrel to this side here, so you have some more opportunities in order to blow up the packs of zombies with a single shot, just by blowing up a barrel, which is something that I really like. And I think that like, if you try to kill every zombie with the pistol, of course that's not actually an issue anymore, because I've also front loaded the weapon loadout a little bit more. So let me get back to the feedback. Yeah. Again, in the channeling wave, the player is restricted to a small space. Let's see if the space is big enough. This space should be big enough. With relatively no room to maneuver. I died because a specific type of enemy cornered and blocked me, and I couldn't escape, and the machine gun enemy finished me off. I would accept this if I had the option to move and avoid death, but these enemies spawned close to me, and with no room to move, it was hard to avoid this death. Also, the movement isn't responsive enough. It's not snappy. I mean, that's... if you're comparing it to, like, Quake or Counter-Strike or Quake-based games, like, Unreal Engine's always kind of had a problem with that. I understand you're designing a Dark Souls punishing game. So that's the first one, like, for an introduction to a new game. This is a really important thing. I think the weapon player movement is too weak starting off. The weapons definitely could be improved very easily. I'm not sure what to do with the movement. I don't know. The movement feels okay to me, especially for like an indie game. Most indie games don't have very good movement. Not in first-person shooters, unless we're talking about literally like fucking Reflex or something, or Toxic. Like those games have really good movement. But all right, let's see. I wanted to record a game, but the weapon switching doesn't work at all. Yeah, Clems uses the mouse wheel, which was completely borked. And the current build that's up there right now, mouse wheel is fucked, making the fights very difficult. I have pistol, shotgun, sniper, but I cannot select the shotgun. When I select the shotgun via the inventory, I cannot select anything else. Yeah, because it was just like fucking completely messed up. Neither the mouse wheel nor the number keys. Now the number keys are broken, huh? I'm gonna take a quick look about that. I'm not sure if the number keys are broken, but the mouse wheel is fucking destroyed, wrecked. Also, when I channeled after I died, my corpse and everything on it disappeared. Okay, this was another bug. That was a bug I actually fixed last night. Clems explains it a little bit more detail later on. He also goes into some more really good details and stuff that I need to mull over, and I need to come up with gameplay solutions for these issues, because this is like really important. But he rebound all of the controls, and he says that the controls weren't working. So today I'm going to change all my controls too and see if my number keys fuck up and stuff like that. Hopefully that's not the case, because this is using the quality menu thing that I bought off the marketplace. I only hooked it up. I'm not sure what's breaking, what would cause it to break. It's actually pretty technical. So I really hope that that's not the case, that that this thing that I added in is broken in some way. So I got my fingers crossed that maybe it was just the mouse wheel being broken that really fucked with things. Yeah, he just wanted to get like 10 bullets. My corpse disappeared when I channeled, not when I died. Alright, so I went through on the blueprint for the home point, right? And I was already checking to see if the player had died while channeling. So like, if it's a death channel where you end up just going through all the motions and resetting the player and set the player location, clear entities, and do all of this craziness right here. What I did was I took this, which is the player death thingy, and I just plugged it in to clear all entities. And I said, if the player dies, then do everything as normal, destroy the player's corpse, right? So that it just functions as it should. It does everything as it's supposed to. But if the player didn't die, then ignore the player death, ignore the player's corpse, which is right here. So that should fix that. That was pretty lame. That and I'm sorry about that. Like, losing all your shit just because you channeled is fucking pretty bad. It's like, going to a bonfire and your fucking corpse disappears. That would be pretty shitty. For all I know, Dark Souls actually might work that way, though. Let me go ahead and get rid of these prints. They're not necessary anymore. Because now I know why this broke. Alright, so this should be fixed now. I did a whole bunch of testing on it already last night. Alright, let me back to the feedback. So let's see. Okay, yeah, you get punished pretty hard. That's really uncool. Hopefully it's not going to be the case anymore, though. Some more feedback while I'm at it. The regenerating ammos doesn't work well, in my humble opinion. It's entirely possible, the regenerating ammo. I'm not really sure how I want to go about it, but I might just go more with a traditional thing, like enemies drop ammo when they die. It's a new pickup. They spawn a few of them, they just drop to the ground, and there's fucking ammo on the ground. Like, there you go. Every enemy has a chance to drop certain kinds of ammo or something like that, and that way I can kind of like starve the player of ammo, certain types of guns or something along those lines. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. But yeah, like, the temptation to wait for the cooldown is really strong. I didn't do it, but it was always in the back of my mind. This could be mitigated somewhat by having monsters drop ammo. If you were to remove regenerating ammos altogether, you could add a weapon class that has unlimited ammos, pistol or melee. On that note, I think the melee weapon should be a proper weapon class with view models and such. Well, one thing I want to do with the melee weapon is that it will have a view model. Like, when you do the quick melee, you'll see the weapon actually like come onto the screen, and it'll be oversized and shit. And that'll be true for the enemies as well. Like, it'll be kind of like this exaggerated like melee attack where you just see like a giant axe like come out and just like hit somebody. It'll look very much kind of like, if you're familiar with Terraria, like when you use the axe or something like that, or use the sword, it's basically a big weapon just like comes out and kind of like flies out in front of you. That's how I want the weapons to work. Although, I mean, if enough people think that having the melee weapon as just a regular weapon that you switch to, then that's not out of the question, really. I kind of like the idea of separating it a little bit, though, but right now they're hardly useful. That's definitely true. And to double that, I've noticed my personally, all weapons with no view models, I forget they exist. Even if it's the fucking minigun, like I have to remind myself that like one of the best weapons in the game exists. So it's like, I don't know, man. Remind myself that a weapon exists. I need to get those view models in. They're having a huge effect. Like the lack of having a view model with sound and a muzzle flash and all that shit is having a huge mental effect on how I see a lot of the weapons. And that includes the melee weapons. The melee weapon needs to like come into on the screen. You should see it. When the zombies attack you, you should see like a claw thingy or something. You know what I mean? There should be some kind of like graphic for when they use melee weapons, or when melee weapons are used in general. It's hard to gauge the range of damage of each weapons. I think that's a huge part of not seeing the view model. Also, more excuses for badass weapons like chainsaw swords or fusion warhammer. Hell yeah. I guess maybe you do feel a little bit more like you have like this cool weapon when you know you're holding it in your hands. I don't know. I kind of found the melee to be fairly useless, but it's almost like it would be better not to even have it in the game or something. Like maybe just get rid of the melee weapon and just make all the guns have a, you know, hit people with the butt of your gun or something. I don't know. This would also remove one key. Actually, it wouldn't. It would just make it so that the key does something different. Right now, the key is a quick melee, but I would just replace the quick melee with a switch to melee key. So, there are many keys to activate stuff. Do you really need 3 keys for different potions? This is huge. Right now, I've been really torn from the idea of like having more than just like a potion. One recovery item that helps you recover both your health and armor or something like that. Or maybe yeah, I just ditched like the armor one, and the only way to get your armor back to replenish is by using auto regen. Because there's auto regen in the game. I feel like you can't just go with a pure Estus Flask system, right? If you do that, then what happens is, in a first-person shooter, you typically take chip damage. Like a pistol guy fucking, like, will hit you from, like, you couldn't fucking dodge it. Like, in Dark Souls, you can get away with a lot of stuff, because if you get hit in Dark Souls, it's your fucking fault, right? But in a first-person shooter, it's a lot harder to, like, deal with that chip damage. So I have an auto regen system in place just to mitigate that a little bit, like just to make it so like every single time something fucking hits you in the foot with a fucking random bullet that was fired from across the room while you were doing something else doesn't eventually lead to your death. So that's sort of like a frustration mitigation. But the auto regen does regenerate armor. So maybe I don't need an armor regeneration. In a way, that kind of makes it like you value your armor. I don't know. I think maybe I should get rid of the ammo and the armor items. And just get rid of the keys. Just ditch them. And then make the healing item do more. Maybe have different healing items with different charges and stuff like that. I don't know. Hey, Gunslinger. Wada do. Said the last time. So like, right now I'm trying to think about the recovery items, and I'm thinking get rid of the armor and get rid of the ammo recovery. At first I wanted to do that, but I don't know. Maybe you just have one recovery item that you upgrade and modify so that it maybe recovers your ammo or something if you want. Coffee. I'm thinking one item that you can like change you equip it or something. I don't know. Or maybe it just sits in your inventory and you get different kinds, or I don't know. I'll have to think about it more, but I'm definitely on the fence about the way it's currently set up right now. Like, life, armor, ammo, only one kind of potion should be necessary. Armor and life are the exact same thing. Both will negate damage until you die. Either change the armor mechanic completely, or change it so so the life potion add both to life and armor. What's the point of having an ammo potion? Simply add more ammos. It's possible that I could also just sort of roll all of the like, you know, the potions. Well, yeah, I can roll all the potions into like one system. And that's it. Make it really simple. Like, you equip it like it's just like any other weapon in a slot. You know, weapon or gear in a slot. Discord. I keep forgetting about that. I could try and set something up. It'd be interesting. I do have a Discord channel that I go to like fairly regularly. I could just like hang out. It's in the zombie den. I don't know. Could be pretty interesting. I wonder if it'll be even more distracting. Oh my god. I'm actually planning on getting shit done this stream. So anyway, but I don't know. Like, I'm like on the fence about the Discord idea. Like, I like the idea, but would it be kind of like opening Pandora's box? This I don't know. Pandora's box. Anyway, in the same vein of the flashlight could be a special ability. Yeah, I think I'll leave the flashlight as a key, but I do agree with reducing the number of keys a lot. I'm not really sure, like, having an ability. Like, I will have abilities in the game, special abilities, and like a flashlight special ability would probably be pretty comical. The Grenadier doesn't aim up or down, unlike the Ogre, which makes him harmless in almost all situations. All right, at first I needed to think about this a little bit more. This is actually complicated. So, like, in the history of first-person shooters, I think starting with the Ogre in Quake, but the soldiers in the first Half-Life, right? You had these guys who could throw grenades. Like, the soldiers in Half-Life can throw a grenade and pinpoint you from like all the way across the level. You see a grenade flying, and it lands exactly in the right spot. You can throw a grenade. So those soldiers can throw a grenade through a fucking air vent through the roof of a building and have it land on your head or something. Don't you want to talk with me? I mean, I do. Alright, I'll give it a try. Like, right now things are kind of slow, but I imagine if there's like 10 people, if it gets to that point, it's just gonna be mayhem. It'll be impossible. Like, I'm thinking maybe I should avoid it. I don't know. I like want to do it, but at the same time I'm like, chill, dude, don't do it. UE4 got a function to calculate the throw arc of a projectile. What? Where? Because I'm already messing around with that. Like, I made it so that the gravity of the weapon can affect the projectile. Let's see. So I have to go to, I think it's weapon based that has. Yeah, get out of entities, go into inventory, items, weapons, remember all this stuff. It's like burned into my brain. Oh yeah. Okay, so it's like bullet drop. It's called bullet drop? Alright, this is the player one. The player one works fine. I'm not going to touch that. But the NPC, on the other hand, the NPC. Oh, the NPC. So, I multiply it by 10? Wonder how I how I arrived at that number. That's for the gravity. Adds a little bit of an arc. That was one of those things where I just kind of eyeballed it. Because it was annoying firing a grenade and the grenade would just do this. Go down straight. Calculate projectile or something like that. Okay, hold on a second. Projectile. That's funny, I'm not even doing a projectile movement component. I'm pretty sure that if I was to start over, I'd probably even get things even more efficient because the engine keeps getting better and better. Those are all variables. It might be an aspect of this. Add projectile movement component. Creates a new component and assigns ownership to the actor. There might be functionality within this component. If I add this component, it might break everything. I can't add it to the weapon though. Of course, it's not impossible that I can just calculate it, because mainly what I need to do is just make it so that the further the player is, the higher the arc. You know, the higher the grenadier fires, based on the arc, on the gravity. So like I'm already doing that calculation right now. It's just being eyeballed at a fixed value, but maybe what I need to do is make that a little bit more complicated and kind of eyeball it so that if you're a certain distance away, it fires higher. And it, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, I actually kind of think it's a little obnoxious when the soldiers in Half-Life can fucking pinpoint you with a grenade from halfway across the map. Yeah. It's got to be in projectile movement. That's what I'm thinking. The only thing is that I create the projectile here. Wait, yawning. Okay, more coffee. I spawn the projectile and figure out its trajectory in the weapon right here. Yeah, I guess I could just add it. All right, let me take a look at it. Projectile. Wait, I didn't add the movement. Okay. Here's the component. Let me just make sure I didn't break things by adding this component into the... What are the default values for this? Okay, there's nothing here. On projectile bounce, on projectile stop, on projectile activate, deactivate. Interesting. Suggest, you said? Suggest. Oh. Suggest projectile velocity. Let me just look at velocity. Limit velocity, set velocity in local space. Wait, I'm using this correctly, right? Yeah, that's a reference to the component. I have absolutely no reason to be yawning right now. Please ignore it. Alright. Set projectile movement. I need to be able to just... Let me see if I can look at the settings or something. I'll probably fuck up the stream if I do this. There doesn't really seem to be any settings. That's the weird thing. Stream options. Enable DVR. That's relevant. Monetization. Latency normal. Make archive unlisted when complete. Nope. There's nothing here, man. Damn it. Well, anyway. Projectile movement is a variable. What's in this? Suggest projectile velocity is a weird one, man. Okay, so suggest. It's not coming out of projectile. Oh, you don't really need the projectile movement. Alright. Toast. Component gone. Okay. Suggest projectile velocity. Wow, what is this? Okay, so it's suggesting it. Override gravity, collision radius. You have the start location and you have the end location. So that'd be like, I already have stuff to plug into all that. That'd be the character and then the enemy, right? And then interesting. It's like suggesting a velocity. I'm thinking interesting. Well, let's see. I already have a velocity, don't I? I mean, because basically what I do is with every projectile is I spawn the projectile, and then the projectile is its own object, which then draws traces to determine whether, if I didn't do it this way, which is kind of weird because the engine already comes with like the first person blueprint comes with like its own projectiles and stuff, but they're trash. Maybe they've improved though. That's entirely possible, but not up to my standards. Like having bullets get stuck in walls and like just behaving unpredictably, just totally unacceptable stuff. Like the traces are very predictable, but with that said, I wonder about this. Like, just trying to wrap my head around this because that's there. Projectile bounce velocity, projectile gravity, speed. Projectile speed is basically the current location, and the speed is used to make the velocity. So like I just feed it all these variables, and basically the projectile behaves as it's supposed to. I mean, I guess I could try and like look at this. Like, I can go in the actual projectile itself when it's figuring all this stuff out, because it has to figure out, it's like the speed is how many units the projectile travels with every trace, right? So I'm doing things kind of differently. It returns velocity, like with how much velocity do we need given a specific speed and gravity to reach a specific point. Traces are cheap as fuck. They're pretty cheap. I actually do a lot of traces, but they're not the cheapest thing in the world. Yeah. Let me look in the projectile, because this is more like the within the projectile itself kind of a thing, right? But I like the idea. I think it's all right here, honestly. This would take this would go right in this place. You have the location. So this would be the start location, and then I figure out the velocity, and then I guess I would feed it all back into the projectile with the correct variables. Oh, math. Math! But, yeah, actually that would work, I think. See, right here is where I do the correction already, and this is for the NPC. The only thing is I don't necessarily... This only needs to happen if gravity is changed. Like, otherwise, I don't really do very much. I don't need to. Like, there's no arc. There's no arc to the weapon's movement speed or anything like that. God damn it, you make me want to work on my game again. Good. More games. Maybe that's bad. It's like, I hear that there's like upwards of like 10,000 games every day or some shit being made. I don't even know what the fuck. That's like games outnumbers the human race eventually. The fuck kind of a... Alright. That to me actually, like how many indie games are made every day is like depressing. It's like, god damn man, how many people are making games? I say that while I'm making a game. Alright, I'm going to come back to this. This particular problem is something that I do want to solve, maybe today. But I'm going to come back to this because it's... I'm pretty sure that there's a more clever way I can go about the solution. Because I'm thinking that I would just use this as a means to kind of figure this out, rather than do this calculation where I'm just like adding, multiplying the projectile's gravity by 10, and then adding it to the Y, like, I think I could do something a lot more interesting, and maybe even have it work differently based on if the gravity exists. Because if the weapon has gravity, like a 1.0 gravity, the bullet just literally like falls to the ground. It doesn't even have a chance to like move anywhere. Or something like that. So let's see. The main thing that I wanted to fix was this actually, but now that that's a mouse wheel is addressed at the moment. But what I need and what I really want to look at are the two main things I want to fuck around with today is the auto map and view models for the weapons. Heavy weapons view models, advanced weapons view models, and grenade launcher view models. Like, absolutely necessary. Welcome back. I didn't even know you were gone. Let's see. There's a couple of things that I shelved today already, but I will solve other things. So, this is actually really interesting. Return a value. Returns false if there is no valid solution or valid solutions are blocked. Returns true otherwise. Favor a high arc. Interesting. Alright, I will come back to that. Alright, the player controller, mouse wheel functionality seems to be working again. It was completely broken. So, with that said, the auto map is something that I'm toying around with right now. Okay, so auto map. So, one of the things that I can do with the auto map, like classic, like Doom style auto map, I could just implement it as though it's kind of like the Division has their auto map, where you just see like the entire city, and like where you are standing is where you currently are, and like you can like look around at the map and see everything. You see like a miniature of the level. That's really fucking cool. But I think that, like, oh god, what am I doing here? I don't have it. Ah! Oh, that was fucked up. I didn't even have any guns. So I can place, so like, if you press M to bring up the auto map, and you're standing next to something, like the map will go into the crates, and you won't be able to like see. So like there's gonna be a lot of like really porous areas where there's like lots of stuff. Will the player just get used to the idea? Oh yeah, you like the game? That's cool. Yeah, well I'm gonna continue working on it. I want to get the demo in a place where it's like there's like no placeholder art in it and stuff. And I'm just gonna keep pimping it. And hopefully I'll be able to like finish it by having some kind of funding. Something. Maybe get it up on Steam Early Access. Put the demo on Steam Early Access and like have people buy it there or something, and then they can like play that. I don't know how I'm gonna promote, or I don't know. I'm walking into this pretty crazy. I'm glad you liked it. I like it. I like the game. Like, I have wanted a first-person shooter like this. You take Doom and Quake, you mix it with something like Dark Souls, and you mix it, and you have loot, and you're constantly getting better and stuff. You know, you're constantly improving. You're constantly facing like harder and harder fights. What's really gonna set things off though? What's really gonna set things off though is when I have like enemy archetypes that are like that change the way the fight takes place. Like, you know, the Archvile is an enemy that changes the way you have to actually fight in that area, stuff like that. Also, I need to have like the enemies like play death animations and stuff for multiple reasons. Actually, one of the things that's happening right now is that if you kill an enemy while its projectile is still in the air and it just deletes the enemy, there's a slight thing where like it won't know how to calculate how much damage the enemy did to you. So like the dead body sort of persisting for a little while would actually make it easier for me to calculate, like to make sure that that you can't get hit by a grenade that does like no damage. That's just a weird, obscure bug though. Alright, so the automap. Currently, I'm experimenting with this. I'm a huge pleb. I liked Quake for like 20 min. I love Half-Life 1 though. Yeah. Well, Half-Life 1 changed the entire first-person shooter. There's no denouncing Half-Life 1. Half-Life 1 and Unreal 1, both. The only difference is that Epic didn't keep making Unreal single-player experiences. They fucked around with it, so they didn't have their chance to really shine. But Half-Life kept things going, and the mod support and everything like that just kept things going, and it changed the entire experience. Like, there was a show but don't tell storytelling. Like, still better. It's still better than a lot of games that come out today. The pacing was just top notch, and it was all accidental. Well, the pacing was accidental. A lot of the really good things about the pacing in Half-Life were because they had to build the level in small chunks. Because they were limited by the engine. They couldn't build these big sprawling levels, right? So you ended up having these like levels that were limited in size, and that made it so that they were able to like piece the levels together with these really seamless level loading things, right? And to me, that was actually a really amazing formula that ended up coming about almost by accident, because I'm sure that if they had the opportunity to make big, gigantic, sprawling levels, they would have gone that route. But they couldn't. They were forced to make these tiny chunks that each individual tiny chunk held up on its own merits. So you were fed maybe 108 individual tiny chunks, and they were all entertaining and interesting, and something happened in each one of them, and that created a very amazing, well done, well paced game. The first Half-Life had better pacing than the second Half-Life as a result, because they couldn't do those vehicle sequences and stuff like that. Not the same way. I mean, they tried, but even the vehicle sequences were small levels. Well, anyway, rant. I loved Unreal 2, thought it was better than 1. I don't agree. I liked the characters. I liked the idea. They had a lot of really good ideas, but their designers were amateurs at the time. They're probably really good right now, but they didn't know how to like build. They had no idea on pacing. They had no idea how to make a good game. There were some aspects of Unreal 2 that were okay, but I felt that it smacked way too much of just people who are wet behind the ears. It's interesting. Black Mesa has a huge amount of detail and beautiful levels, but it loads a lot more than Half-Life 1. Huh. It loads even more, huh? So the levels in Black Mesa are actually smaller than the original. They're smaller? Even smaller? I imagine you can't get much smaller than Half-Life 1 did. But that's one of the beauties of it, is that those small levels forced the designer to be thinking about this one cool room or this one cool hallway. You know what I mean? And that changes everything. Like if you're thinking about 10 cool rooms and 10 cool hallways, which is, you know, how most modern first-person shooters, pretty much how their levels are, you end up with like maybe 9 crappy hallways and rooms, and then you end up with one really cool room. Like, but if the level designer is just thinking, okay, I need to make this one cool room and make one neat thing happen in this area, and maybe like there's a couple of details here and there, it changes the focus a lot, and the player ends up with a much more paced, a much better pacing. Not only that, but if you can interlink the levels, because they're small chunks, you can interlink them however you want. You can be like, you know what, I don't like the sewer sequence right now. Like, I think maybe there needs to be one more sequence before the sewer sequence, because it just like throws this enemy right at you a little bit too early. And you could do that. All you gotta do is change the level load. I don't know. It's to me that's just like it was a genius like accident. It was a beautiful accident. Also the new let's see. Also the new Wolfenstein games are fucking fantastic, but censored so strong in Germany that the story didn't make sense at a certain point anymore. Oh, I hate this. Censorship in Germany seems to be insane. It's like you can't have blood. You only have fucking robots and stuff. They like replaced the soldiers in Half-Life with robots, and they bleed oil. I don't even get that. Smaller. Yeah, smaller in that it has more loading zones. Alright, so, now that I'm done ranting about that, this right here is, that's basically right here. Now this isn't a very efficient way to do this. Let's see. I need to think of component. Add. You can add a widget component. Add a static mesh component. Alright. Set you to 0. That was a long time ago with the robots bleeding oil. A long, long time ago. Doom 4 was completely uncut. That's good. I mean, what was there to really censor? I mean, there was some like gross stuff going on and whatever, but you know, it was Demons from Hell. The Nazi symbols were banned in Germany since video games are toys in Germany. Yeah. I don't know, man. The politics of that area just blows my mind. I'm pretty much against all forms of censorship. So. Let's see. So if I add a static mesh, right? So I set that up, and then I movies can have Nazi symbols. Well, at that point, like, how are video games toys? I guess they are. But how is a movie not a toy then? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. It simply does not make sense. Okay, I'm gonna spawn you in at 0.1. Actually, you'd be 0.25, right? 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Okay, and then I'm gonna make sure that set, let's see, set child. So this is kind of like what I'm doing right now is something that I haven't really ever done before, is spawning components and then setting a static mesh on that component based on an entity that it finds, right? Like, I have to have like a separate thing. I don't want to have to do this with an event tick. I want the automap to be reported of an item's existence and then just continually then use the event tick to just report where that position is in relation to the center of the world. What I'm doing is actually not that complicated, but I'm not familiar with the flow of how to do it. I have high hopes though, since Merkel opens the Gamescom this year. Well, I wish you luck with that. You know, there was actually a chance I might have moved to Germany. But I don't know anymore if that was a good idea, because the place that I would have moved to would have been hit by a couple terrorist attacks. I'm not fucking kidding. That bothers me, yeah, a lot. Like, I'd be pretty fucking ripped up right now if, like, well, let's not bother to get into that topic right now. Actually, does it really matter? Whatever. Yeah, like, if I had moved to Germany, I would have been in Berlin. And I do understand that there were a few pretty nasty situations that went down in Berlin. Yeah. There was a festival where somebody just drove a truck through it. I would have probably been at that festival. If I was living in Germany, and if I was in Berlin, you know, me and Zombie Doll would have been there. Probably. Because it was a really cool festival. So, yeah. That is true. You have a higher chance of being hit by lightning. Yeah, it was the Christmas market. You don't fuck. Yeah, I would have been there. It looked beautiful. There was lights hanging down. It was like, it looked so amazing. Like, I definitely would have like went there and loved it. You know what I mean? Like, and if I was living in Germany, I would have obviously like started to learn the language and everything like that. I would have learned German enough to be able to communicate with people, and like it would have been just a beautiful experience. Yeah, absolutely. It upsets me so much that something like that could happen at a place, well, anywhere really, but like that festival looked fucking amazing, and it would have been really cool to be there. Well, um, a terrorist attack aside, I'm pretty sure I would have been there. So I've thought about that. So let's see. I'm spawning. Let's see. So I spawn a static mesh, and then I want to set a sphere. So basically what I'll do is I'll set, what is it, mesh? I guess it's set static mesh, and then I'll have to be like new mesh. I wonder if I can just, this is kind of cool. Add static mesh component and it already has a sphere. That's even better than what I was just doing. I don't even have to do all this other crap. Alright. Hmm. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to get rid of this. Yeah. Okay, wait. I'm messing with the logic here. I guess I would add this to a array. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make remote variable, and I'm gonna turn you into an array. Players, and then I don't think I can. This could break over. All right. Yeah. Okay. And then I go add. Right. So now I have. This is an object. I say players because eventually I want to have co-op and be able to see your friend running around is a thing. All right. So when the player spawns, I want to spawn a static mesh. So in the, I wonder if I should do this within the character base, or the player base. I think I'm going to do it in the player base. So basically, if I can get lots of bases again, if I can get the character base when the character spawns to search for an automap entity, if one exists, then run this functionality to add my character's reference to the automap, and then from there it'll spawn a static mesh component based on that. So I'm going to do add a custom event. Okay, so like add player I guess it would be add player marker maybe. Okay. So let's see. How do you set, like, I need to make sure that the origin here is the object, the object's parent. So I need everything to be, maybe I could add, no, Add child maybe. All right, so this is an interesting thing. I have to make sure that this static mesh is a child of origin. So like, well, let me see if I can get the base part of this working first, and then that'll be the main thing. Add player marker. I'm gonna grab this. I'm gonna say player character base. Okay. And you'll be... Okay, so I add this. I guess I'm gonna have to have like an array. Yeah. Alright, I'll have an array of players that add. So this will have to be player marker. Alright. And then what I'll do on event tick is I'll just iterate through the player refs and the player markers, and then just every second will reposition them, but only if I'm in automap mode or something like that, so that I'm not like being too wasteful, like it's not using up calculations while I am doing other stuff. You know, I'm not looking at the map, so the map doesn't need to update. In fact, I probably don't really need to do anything that crazy. I could probably just I probably don't need an event tick at all. I could probably just have it set up where you go in the map mode and it just shows everything and it's static. But I kind of like being able to see people moving around, like if you're with a friend and stuff like that. But for the most part, the vast majority of stuff that's going on in the map is going to be static objects that aren't moving around, really. So maybe only players will incur the event tick. Yeah, probably something like that. I could even make it as much as like every 3 seconds, because it's kind of cool. Like in the first Aliens movie, you know, the first Alien movie. Like you have that little dot. Blip, blip, blip. The whole fucking scene was intense. There's like an alien there. Blip, blip, blip. Alright. So I'm going to add you to an array as well. Promote. Player marker. These are static mesh components. And you are player markers, so promote variable. Player refs. Hope my English is okay. It's only my first language. I should learn English. That's my one problem when it comes to learning another language. How can I do that if I can't even English? Add. Okay. I got this. Alright, so this only should happen once. At least until I start running the game on a dedicated server or something. Alright, so I got a player reference and a player marker. I'm gonna reverse the order of them just a little bit. Okay. Now what do I do? I have a reference to all the players. Oh, I should at least go ahead and hook this up. There's a lot of stuff that happens here. I think in the event begin play, I'm going to go ahead and set up a sequence here. I end up doing a lot of sequences because it doesn't fuck with the already existing logic, it just branches it. It's kind of nice. But as these blueprints get more and more like involved, I'm probably just going to be doing a series of videos or something, or streams where all I'm doing is going through each and every one of these things. And I've said I was going to do this like multiple times, but I'm so busy like making new content that I'm not willing to you know, spend time just organizing stuff. That's not a good thing. Let's see. I do need to make sure that this is a child. Like, set child, no, hierarchy. There's gotta be like a, let me look this up. UE4 set component not child hierarchy. Oh man. Changing component hierarchy of an actor in C++. This is blueprints. This is important because I need to make sure that origin is the simulated center of the world. Component hierarchy and blueprint add collision problem. The blueprint component reordering. Yeah, I highly recommend. Like, you know, it's possible though because the engine's constantly changing. I've noticed this already with brushes. Like I've been criticizing the brushes like they haven't changed in the last 2 years, but and I'm guilty of that for sure. But like I highly recommend using ray traces over. Ray traces are better at making sure that the projectile doesn't collide with the player. Like you don't have like you don't shoot yourself by firing your own bullet. And then if you walk up to a wall, you place your face flat against the wall, the ray trace can start at the center of your screen and hit the wall right in front of you. Like your bullets don't start in the wall. Like there was all kinds of like weird collision issues, and if you try to make the projectile start too close to the player. Then there was also problems where like if I'm running forward and my character's movement speed is really fast and I fire my bullet, all my bullets would hit me because they were spawning inside of me. Like, man, all that shit went away once I started using raycast for everything. Since raycasts are super fucking cheap and super precise, my bullets start inside me. It worked fine actually. Yeah, I forget what. Like you have to make sure that the collision values for the projectile are set correctly, but there was other issues that popped up as well, like making sure, like if my bullets don't hit me, but how do I make sure that my bullets are hitting other players who are the same class? How do I make sure that my bullets are like hitting like certain objects? And then it just gets really messy, and the collision settings in Unreal are, I don't know, it was really flaky. But once I started going with raycast, everything, it was just butter after that. Like everything worked, and I ended up coming up with my own solutions for a lot of problems that are probably, you know, maybe not optimal, but at least I'm not running into issues like that. Like when I fire my gun, the projectiles come out and do their projectile-y things. Not this like bounce off of or hit a surface or fire in some weird direction shit that I was dealing with before, or shooting myself because I was running forward. Crap. No. Set component. I mean, set relative location is based on, I don't know. I'm gonna do get all actors of class, so I'm gonna do this. Alright. And it's gonna be automap. Automap base. And then I'm gonna do a get. And I'm gonna get the first one on the list. I'm gonna check to see if it's valid. Alright. Alright, so if it's valid, then I'm going to run the function add player marker. And then I'm going to do self, a reference to myself. Oh, the vanity. Now the marker, the automap marker knows what's going on. Knows that I exist. Right? And from that, I'm going to also add a static mesh component. This is a little shaky of a way to do it because the if this was a game where like people were constantly coming and going and stuff like that, then you would end up with situations where these indices would not line up correctly. So let's see. I set the static mesh component here, and then I set its scale, and then I add it to there. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is every 3 seconds, I'm going to iterate through this array. So for each loop, and then I have to add an extra like condition, like does player 0 have the map turned on or something like that, like, or maybe I just don't replicate this. I'm not going to be replicating. I'm going to be replicating very little stuff for multiplayer. I'm going to be doing bare minimum. Even the loot. All the loot's going to be different for everybody. The only time I'm going to replicate loot is if players are trading items between each other. And that's going to be done through a special system where it's like a trade. Like, hey, I found this really good gun. Do you want it? And like you walk up and like you trade with that person. That's the only time I'm going to be replicating loot. Otherwise, like every item that drops, everything, all that shit belongs to you. Like, you don't have to worry about taking somebody's gun. Cheating is going to be a problem, but this isn't competitive multiplayer. In the case of single player and co-op, it's almost a feature. Hey, if you want to cheat, you can go ahead and cheat. It's up to you. It's the same thing with like Terraria and stuff like that. In a PvE environment, cheating is not the same situation as cheating in PvP. Cheating in PvP needs to be fucking solved. Unacceptable. You need to fucking solve that. You're ruining other players' experiences. You have to have cheat protection and stuff like that. But when you're doing PvE multiplayer, it's not nearly the same situation. In fact, yeah, a lot of players might actually want to be able to, like, hey, I'm a god, I'm level 100, you know, up to them. That's your business. So, in this particular case, I'm not worried about cheating. Now, if I do competitive multiplayer of any kind, cheat protection will be foremost, fucking up front. I'm not even sure how the fuck I would do it, but I hate cheating. And it's such a fucking problem. And even people with infrastructure can't solve it. So I don't even know what the fuck to do about that. But, yeah. So, in this case, it doesn't worry me too much. So I iterate through get actor location multiplied by half, which is, I guess the first thing I need to do is valid. Oops. I use a lot of is valids. Checking to see if something's valid is fucking important. Okay, so if the player reference is valid, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the, I'm going to do a get of this array. And then now that I have this array, I can plug this into like that. And that's when I can do the set relative location. Did I delete it? I deleted it. Why did I delete that? Set relative location. I might have to do a is valid on this as well. Yeah, shit. If either of these aren't valid, then something horribly wrong happened, though. I'll have it spit out something in text. Be like, print, what the hell, man? Player reference not valid, and print, be like, player reference error. I doubt I'm ever gonna see these errors, but fuck, for fuck's sakes, like if this ever does happen, error, player marker not valid on automap. Huh. Okay, so this happens every 3 seconds. It iterates through the player references. This means that there's going to be an add static, a static mesh component. So I'm going to have to go to this. Oops. What the hell? Oh, that's the player marker. I need, yeah, here we go. Should be broken. Probably just teleport it. Just sweep. No need to do any of that stuff. Okay, so basically this just looks like a couple of spheres. Alright, let's see what happens with this, because what I've got going on here should work now. When the player spawns, player character base spawns, it finds the automap, and then it adds itself. If there are multiple automaps, and it only cares about the first one, figures out if it's valid, which for some reason if it found it, it would probably need to be valid, but add player marker, adds the left player reference to an array, and then I similarly add a new player marker, and then I associate them by index in the array. These should all line up. Alright. Let's see how this looks. What I should see is a little dot that moves around. Whoa! following me. Weird. Too spoopy. Look at that. Okay. It doesn't have a material set to it. I wonder how we can set a base material on it. No, that doesn't work. Doesn't this object in here have a fucking material already applied to it? Why isn't it the actual object? It's just the mesh. It's not even. Oh, there it is. Never mind. There we go. Okay, so where the hell do I? Oh God, look at all these things. A blinking. Fuck it, I'm gonna try that. I just want to see what it looks like. A blinking carrot? A carrot? A blinking carrot. Alright, blinking carrot. I'm gonna spawn you in at a little smaller. And I'm going to change the math so I multiply your world space location by 0.25 instead of 0.5. So now the objects move in smaller increments. There it is. It's a blinking carrot. Oh Jesus. Now remember, the center of the world is down here, so it's like directly below me. Alright. It'd be kind of interesting to make an enemy like this. It just moves this way. Like if you move, it moves. Have a boo. I'm gonna put a boo in the game. And that's not what I'm dealing with at the moment though. Alright, so. Wherever this blueprint spawns, let's drop it to the ground. It has a relative locational position. Boom, there it is. It starts off at the center. The blinky AI is better. Well, I mean, it doesn't shoot at me, so I don't agree with you. If it can get stuck in walls, I think that's ideal. This guy is free. Oh, let's see. At this point in time, I'm playing a stream where all I'm doing is watching a blinking carrot. So, with that said, let's decrease the size a little bit more. Alright. Come on, blinking carrot. There it is, man. I made a bird AI for Gears of War, which you can watch on my channel. You made a bird AI in Gears of War? How did you do flying AI? For me, like, the flying AI is probably just going to be like trying to get within a safe position, kind of like a Goldilocks. That's basically it. I mean, the Keiko demons in Doom, they basically just keep moving towards you, but I want flying enemies that find a Goldilocks position, sort of in front of the player's view, so that like that, you're not dealing with enemies that are like uncomfortable and flying like up here or something like that. They lower themselves down into your view, and then they kind of stay there. They don't want you to get too close, but they don't want you to get too far either. Ghosts of War. So this little blinky guy, right? That is relative positional data based on world space. So it's simulated world space, right? That means that I only need to do a few more things, and I could technically spawn a diorama of the level underneath the player using that blueprint. The only thing is that I would have to maintain that. The thing is that I just want a representative diorama. I don't want to have a complex diorama, but like doing an auto map that's kind of similar to how like fucking The Division does is insane in my opinion. Like being able to spawn an auto map on the fucking ground and then be able to watch your dot walk around it. That's kind of fucking cool. Ghost of War. I'll look at your channel. I'll write down to look at your channel. I have stuff that I still haven't looked at from a couple of views, a couple of streams. It's all written down. I think I have actually looked at your channel. And for some reason it's making it like so I can't. Are there any videos you want me to watch? I can watch one right now, actually. Here, let me stop Monster Cat for a second. Let's see. Whoa. Yeah, like World War II guns and stuff. That's right. You're working on a World War II game. I think you mentioned that before. Which one do you want me to watch? A Luger. Actually, I'm gonna pick one. Ghost of War building demo. Okay, hold on a second. What we got here? You got like level design tools in the fucking engine. Sweet. So you're like building gravestones? I imagine it could be just like any kind of object, right? And like that's it being constructed. How did you get it so that it was like building up like that? I guess that's just part of a scalar and a material. Job's done. Huh, that was interesting. What was happening there? All effects and sounds are super placeholder. That was pretty interesting. So like that was you like that was like you like getting like a building system in place that has like so that you can build structures for strategic reasons. Maybe the structures do different stuff, and then they have like a building up. Wouldn't it make more sense for the build to start from the top and then go down. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It's interesting though. What's the Luger like? How's your Luger? I was working on the material to do that. Usually you find like you actually have a lot of subscribers for a lot of people who like are just deving out and then just like post stuff so that they can show the other people in their team and stuff. That's kind of what this looks like. What's the Stalker inventory demo? So this is showing Stalker, and you're like looking at. So this is like to kind of show other people on the team, like what. There it is on the ground. Yeah. Sometimes it's just like show functionality for something in another game. You like make a quick video and then you put it up and like I remember doing that a lot when I was working at Unknown Worlds. There was an awful lot of that where we'd like make a quick video to like show some other game's functionality and be like, yeah, we need it to work like this. I remember doing that a lot. Yeah, exactly. Since he wanted to know what the Stalker inventory was. Let me see. Alright, let me get back to this. Monster Cat's definitely going to play a commercial now. Oh, or not. Wait, you're a cheddar biscuit butterfly shrimp. Okay. Okay. So the hard part about this is going to be to make the diorama line up. So I have to have, since I build most of my level on these kinds of like tiles, and I won't worry about the terrain, I'm just going to use tiles for the terrain as well. Like, it just needs to be close. It doesn't need to be exact, but I just need to be able to get all these in a relative position, shrink them down as part of the blueprint, maybe, or or I can have this sitting outside of the level in a little black box, kind of like what I already have over here. My birds. Hold on a second. Is it playing the right one? Can't get the damn links. I never know how to get the links to work. YouTube. Shit. I always get it wrong. Like, how do you get that link to work correctly? Yeah, that's what I just did. And it didn't, it was like silliness. So, like, and then, I don't understand. I'll just type it in, and it doesn't work. Hmm. Just try the number. Like, that's how it's done for mine. Literally. It looks exactly like the links for my videos, and I type it in just exactly the same way. Huh. Yeah, I don't understand. That's strange. I don't know. I don't get it. Okay, with that said, I'm gonna stay focused for a couple of minutes here, because I can get this done. I think I can do this. Shit, I've already been doing this for 2 hours and I haven't gotten anything in place. Alright. So, what I'm trying to do is experiment with the idea of having a diorama of the level in a box outside of it, of the level, that I can make a 3D representation of the map. That's like off to the side somewhere. In fact, I can probably move this outside of the post-processing volume and everything. Have it just be like outside. Increase the size a little bit. Now if I do it this way though, it's a little clunkier. Like, maybe it is actually just better to spawn a fucking diorama of the map underneath the player. Like, I might as well like try that first rather than do this like box outside of the map shit. Like, having the auto map appear underneath me and like be able to walk around and look at it, that's fucking awesome. Okay, hold on a second. 100 birds with collision avoidance. Actually look pretty cool. Look at them all. So they just sort of like circle around it. It's like a funnel. The link that I typed was exactly this link. Why didn't it let me do it? That was exactly what I typed. That is bullshit. This shit is against me. Conspiracy theories. Alright. Back to Monster Cat. Alright, I'm gonna fucking do this. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fuck around with the idea of spawning a diorama. Because honestly, having the level spawn underneath your feet, like being able to see the whole level, just to me, just sounds insane. Like, that's like next generation shit, and I can just do it. So, I'm gonna... Of course, that means that I'm gonna have to have a higher, you know, like a bunch of auto maps. So, like, let's see. Oh man, you know, maybe I can't do that. Well, what if I grab... Can I grab all these, turn them into flat sheets? Okay, can I grab all these and turn them into flat sheets? And then, can I maybe export them as like a fucking mesh or something? If I could do that, then I could scale it down. Geometry, meshes, flat sheets. Alright, so this is the floor. Okay. This is a whole bunch of flat sheets. Can I maybe merge actors? That would be one way to do it. I don't know, let's see. They fly to a specific point in the world. Each bird gets a random goal point inside the box. It's pretty advanced for birds. Convert actors to mesh. Okay. Go in the world, entities, automap, new folder. This is hub 01. Will this actually work? Successfully converted it. Alright. So then I go into the blueprint. Wait, I'm already in... Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, holy shit. If it converted it properly, then I should be able to go into automap world hub 01 and then just set that to the origin. Look at that shit. Oh, it did it on relative, It set the origin at the center of the mesh. Of course, now I'll... Wait, it is actually really tiny. Hold on a second. It should appear... Yeah, like I can't spawn it perfectly on the floor. I have to spawn it like a little bit above the ground. And it's going to have to be a lot smaller. Yeah. See, it's at 0. It needs to be higher up. Alright. So I'm going to have to do something that's even smaller. than 0.01. It might have to be like 0.0. Let's try 0.01. This is probably too small. Let's try 0.05. This is half size of that. I mean, I'm cutting it down into like half size. Right? Going to the logic. Now the logic's going to be 0.05 as well. Right? And this should all line up. Oh yeah. This static mesh cannot have collision. That will cause lots of problems. Yeah, remove. Oh, no, 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 no. Don't do anything. It had no collision. It was correct. Okay. Well, the neat thing about this is that I could potentially figure out how to offset. I don't know. I might not need a whole bunch of different objects. I'm just gonna have to make sure that the offsets are somewhat correct. So this is a little bit off the ground. I'll set this to like 5. This should be a little bit closer to the actual ground. Alright, 0.5. Alright, everything's being scaled down to 0.5. I'll even shrink the circle a little tiny bit. Right. Okay. Alright, so I'm sort of standing in the middle. What happens if I go off the side? Alright, I'm seeing the position of the player. Looks like it's lining up. So I'd have to grab all of the floor pieces in this. I'm not sure exactly how it would do the math to figure out how to like make sure that 0 on the mesh, the origin of the mesh is lined up with the origin of the world. But maybe I could put an object at 0 or something. I don't know. Like, how would I do that? But basically, yeah, like, grab all these. Duplicate them. Well, the neat thing about this is that I can at least drag these off. Yeah. Yeah, basically I just grab all the floor pieces and copy them, drag them off to the side of the world, clean them up a little bit, add things that are missing. And then turn it into a mesh. Give it the correct material. Right. Yeah. Alright. So I'm gonna set this to like 500. Make sure that... So that's all the walkable space in here, not counting the terrain. Right? Copy all this off to the side of the world somewhere. But how would I figure out the origin, though? That's the question. So now I have all the floors. Turn these into flat sheets. Are these just... No, those aren't even real scales. That kind of sucks. Well, anyway. Turn these into flat sheets, and I'll fix those in a second. No! That's not what I wanted to do. Oh, no! Alright, go into content browser. Most of this is just going to be like figuring out how I want to do this, but alright, now I got flat sheets. Got these flat sheets. Alright. Turn them into... Alright. And then I'll probably just, like... In all honesty, for the automap, I don't really need to do much more than this. Like, I could probably put a triangle here. Yeah, put another... Alright. And then copy this over and make it a triangle. Geometry. Yeah, like I think I can actually make this work because it's fairly simple. The way I built the level, the levels in the game using the flat sheets, it's really just a matter of translation, and I think I can manage to make this work like this. Like, let's see, blue, you're gonna be like a 0.6. Make sure that this is lined up. Oh, it wasn't. It was more of a 0.4. Or was it a 0.5? No, it was a 0.4. Right? So the representation doesn't need to be much more than this. And maybe I can be cute and like add a couple of boxes or something, right? But like, for the most part, this is the map. I'm looking at the auto map, right? Just make sure that this is lined up, and then now I have an idea where the floor is here, right? So just kind of like using a culmination of the designs that I've already done. This will be even easier when I have levels that are block meshes that are basically just you know, there's really nothing more to it. So that was 3 over. I just grabbed the fucking floor pieces and turn them into a mesh, and then just scale them down accordingly. So this is the auto map. This is the auto map of this level, essentially. Right? There's this corner here is a, yeah. So it's one in. Okay. And so I just drag this over, rotate it like that. Alright, so now I have an idea of what the auto map is. You know, I probably could just drop this into a fucking black box somewhere and not even think like I don't even need to do any like math to like scale it down or anything. But if I do the outside of the level approach anyway. Oops. since this only needs to be representative, I don't really have to do anything crazy, right? So once this is like this, alright, I'm just going to go ahead and delete all these because I don't need them. And I just come up with a cool material that's transparent. Maybe has some kind of shading on it. It's really not that bad. I mean, it only needs to be a representation. It doesn't need to be like this is actually almost plenty right here. I just slap a material on this, make this float in space, and find a couple of markers and just leave it at that. Like, and it's more robust automap than most games have, which is actually kind of funny. It will take a little bit more work, but it's not the kind of work that scares me. In fact, I could just leave like a little diorama outside of the level. I don't know. Once you start doing the take a picture of it and it has to line up correctly and all that stuff, like to me for some reason this is just easier mentally for me. Once you start having to like make sure that the material is, and then have somebody fucking touch up the texture, and like to me that ends up being more of a pain in the ass. For me, I wanna just look at a fucking like 3D floating diorama of the level when I press a button. I wanna spawn a floating diorama of the level in front of me and be able to watch myself move around on it. And like maybe see icons for other stuff. That's cooler to me. Hey, what's up, Red Zone? Yeah, for me, like it's just easier to work in 3D anyway. But it's also more interesting because it's more next gen. You know what I mean? Like having a map like this, like it would be cool if it was totally automatic. Like Doom has that advantage where you can just plop down, you just build the map and the fucking auto map just works. It's just showing you the fucking BSP basically. But like to me this is like having like a floating representation of the level in front of me. Man, you know? That's crazy. Oops. It does mean though that like I'll have to have extra consideration for like when I make changes to the level and stuff like that. But even that, like it's not game breaking if it's a little bit off as well. That's one of the other things too. Is like all it needs to do is just mark where the locations are, and like yeah, it just needs to say, okay, this is the exit to this place, this is the exit to this place, and just fucking float that shit in front of me so I can see it. Yeah, kind of like Doom 4's, except I'm actually thinking making it kind of like The Division, where you press the M button for the map, and the fucking map appears like around you, and you just look at it. You walk around and look at it. There's like no extra keys needed, no. Other than the fact that there's just like an M, an auto map key. Now you've got this thing floating in front of you that has like icons floating and everything's relative. To me, that just seems cool. That just seems really interesting. And I'm in full control of what it looks like as well. In fact, there's really very little harm in me just leaving this floating out here so that I can easily convert it if I make changes later on. I could just leave this here. I could do this for every one of the levels in the game. I could just have like an auto map that I use. I could hide it so that it doesn't appear. So I can grab all these and just like hide them so that they don't appear in the game when the game's running. Actor hidden in game, yeah. And it's literally just for me to like easily, very quickly and easily position it. Now the hard part is how the fuck am I? Oh, I know. All right, I got it. I just put a little box underneath it that that's where 0 is, and then I just make sure that that box lines up where it needs to be. I got it. All right, that solves it. That solves it. Okay. Now I just need a cool material to put on this, but for right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab all of these. And I'm going to make it so that they don't appear when you play the game. And then I'm going to figure out a material that looks cool. Something kind of transparent. Oh, you know what? This actually kind of... You know what? I'm going to cut that in half, maybe. Oh, no. Oops. God damn it. Ah, why would it do that? And it's not that one. I guess it's this one. Yeah, fuck it, if I can even go as far as to place some of the crates and stuff. Right now I already figured it out. There's this, you just select all of this, and then you export it as a mesh. And that's even easier, because now I can easily, now I can very easily fucking, like, just, scale it down, and it'll be relative. Damn. Actually, this is kind of crazy. Okay, so like now I gotta figure out how to how it. All right. I need to put a box at 0. That's the hard part. Like, how the fuck do I figure out where 0? Oh, I'm an idiot. It would have been okay. Actually, I'm just gonna put a box in the world. Set it to 0. All right, this is actually pretty easy. I don't know what the fuck. Okay, so I got a box, right? And I just set it to 0. Set my there you go. I set my grid all the way up. I'll just drag that motherfucker over until it looks right. I think it, because all I did was I just dragged this over like this. Right there it is. Okay. So what do I do? What I'm going to do is make sure that I get this material. Right? Now I know where the center is. Of course, then being this like weird box. That's kind of a... Yeah, that's actually one side effect of this, is that there's gonna be this box floating down there. But I could solve that. All right, so I select all these, right? Just how awkward I wonder this is gonna feel like when you spawn the level underneath you. Okay, so now I right click, convert actors to static mesh. Now I go to world, entities, automap, level meshes, and I go hub 01. Alright, as long as I don't fuck this up. It won't let me rename. Oh my god. It's not gonna let me. Just save over it. Alright, I guess I'll have to. Oh, Jesus. I'm gonna have to add another step to this stupid process. Temp. Alright. Alright. Now I have all that. I'm gonna go ahead and mark all these as hidden in game. Alright. Now I go into this. I'm gonna go into the blueprint. Can't fucking believe that. I can't overwrite. I can't delete or fucking. Alright, so automap, origin, pow. Oh, the box didn't get a new material on it. Oh wait, I could just make the box an invisible shape. Oh, this is adorable. Alright, so now all I need to do is just make sure that the box is at the center of the world. Alright, which is going to be an interesting process. Oh, come on. Really, box? You're going to be that stubborn with me? Why isn't it moving? Oh, God. I'm going to have to go into like the 1 grid or something. Alright. Now I'll just put an invisible mesh on that motherfucker. Because the origin is actually in some other weird spot. The actual origin of the mesh. So when I converted the mesh into this into a static mesh, it created a new origin at the center of its mass. So I have to do a different process to make sure. I have to do an extra step to make sure that the origin is actually lined up with world space, because the origin of the mesh is actually over here. Which isn't correct. Alright, so now that I got this, I have a representation of the level. Let's take a look. Alright. Is it moving? I'm having a hard time seeing. I got a sniper rifle. Alright, so my original plan is going to have to change a little bit, because I was thinking that it would be a little bit different. Yeah, I could just... Well, I wanna spawn the actor and then let the player walk around. Right? And then I want the actor to have all the other icons appear, like the exits, so like this goes back to the Death Peak, and this goes to the Dark Base. So you'll see a little icon with the Dark Base right here. And then maybe I'll have like an icon for the Fabricator, and then a home point right here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, could just attach it to the player just to see if it's working correctly. Like in the here. Oh, I could just move it. Yeah. I got the player reference. Why don't I just move it to the player reference? Okay, so set self. Is it self? All right. Set actor, location, and rotation. Okay. Now it's referring to itself, and every 3 seconds I get actor location. Oh wait, I should do actor location and rotation. Ah! Not set. Get. Alright, I'm all thumbs right now. Okay, and now I go rotation. Socket? No. Actor rotation. Oh. Yeah, it's the pawn, so it should work. Get actor rotation. Alright. Let's see what happens. I have to deal with the stupid cube though. There's really no way around it. Because when I create the static mesh, what it does is it sets the origin in some weird spot based on what it thinks the origin should be. Alright. This is kind of what I had in mind. Oh god. Alright, let's see. Go up here. Oh god, it has collision. That little cube has collision. You believe this shit? I'm gonna move that down a little bit because that's just a little too fucking much. Well, I need this for the pipeline, like, because I'm gonna be doing this a lot. I have to do this for every level in the entire game. So like, there's no way I can avoid that. I'm gonna have to like have the process. I mean, I could easily export this mesh into Blender and get the origin in the correct spot and do all that, but it's really not worth the trouble. I wonder what the fuck. I do need to go through. Okay. Location. I'm gonna break you. Break. Alright, X, Y, and Z. Oh god, what a mess. Shit became messy. I wasn't even trying. Alright. Break. Oh god, I broke the wrong thing. Break. Give me a break. Okay. X, Y, Z minus, I don't know, let's make it 10. There it is. Alright. And then also I need to make sure I go into that mesh. Yeah, why did it have collision? so annoying. Maybe that material added. If I set it to 000 before I export it, the level isn't built on 000. So it doesn't work that way. Let's see. Okay. Let's see how annoying this looks. Okay. Is it down a little bit? Alright. There I am as a player. I could probably go ahead and make this even a little smaller. Oh wait, I can't go out that door. Alright, let's try going up this way. Alright. Yep, there I am. Whoa! It rotated. Okay, that's fucking annoying. I'm gonna have to change the rotation thingy. Well, actually, the rotation thing will only happen once. Like this should only happen when I add player marker. All right, so this shouldn't actually happen every 3 seconds. What this is gonna do. Yeah, alright. This will end up having to be more complicated than this, but... Not the marker. All right. It's kind of a process a little bit. It's actually not that bad, but maybe it's just for me. Like, but to me, it's just so fucking cool when you see the level underneath. Like, damn, man. Like, and to be able to actually find secrets that way and shit, too. The only thing that's gonna really fuck with me on this is trying to figure out, like, not showing the player places that the player has already explored. So, like, maybe I'll do 25 down. Alright, so this isn't happening. So once this object is created, it spawns itself, and then it'll handle all this crap. Like every 3 seconds, it blips, shows me where I am. Right, and I can kind of walk around and see everything. To me, this is a fucking auto map. This is like a fucking auto fucking map. Like, and then I get all the other icons on there that show you like where positions are and stuff like that. If I really want to be fancy, I can even show you like loot places that you've already found. So, okay. Just gotta get fancy shader on it. I'm not really sure what the shader should be. But it's not auto. I guess it's true. I don't know why they call it auto. Why is it... Where does the auto come from? Okay. I have to have something on the player base. No. I'll have to have something on the player controller that's temporary. I wonder what I can do. Because the player base ain't going to be where this happens anymore. In fact, I'm not even going to be doing a get all actors of class anymore. Well, maybe. Well, no. I'm literally going to be just spawning a fucking automap at will, so this doesn't even need to exist anymore. This is... I'm completely changing the functionality so that it's cool. It'll actually be cooler. But I need to have like a key. Temporary. Okay. Not necessary anymore. Input. I'm just going to take a raw input, like literally input M and input M just for testing. Like if the M key is pressed, that brings up the map. I'll worry about the inputs and the technical stuff a little bit later. So what M does is it spawns an automap. This should probably be happening somewhere else. This is going to have to happen in the player controller. I can't do this in the player character. Yeah, this isn't going to work here. I'm just going to start this over. Get out of this. I'm going into the player controller. Alright. Okay. Okay, this will be a test. Okay, if you press M, let me just make sure that M's working. Print. Okay, M is working. Delete this. Alright, so I'm going to spawn actor from class. I'm going to find my player reference. There should be references, player pawn. Alright, I'm going to get... Hold on a second. The automap kind of already does this. I guess I don't need to do it twice. Yeah, I just spawned the automap. It's already doing that. So... yeah. So I'll just spawn it at 0. 0 squared is good enough for me right now. And this is going to be automap base, because this is the base class of the automaps, of which there will probably be more, although I will probably just be doing something. I don't know how I'm going to handle this when it comes to like having more than one automap, because I'm going to have a different representation diorama of each level. Okay, so this spawns it. Now I need to promote a variable. Alright, so this variable is going to be the automap reference. Automap. Wait, if it's not auto, they call it if auto because it automatically tracks your position, places, and you've been to. Oh, yeah, then it is an automap. Alright, make sure that I name it correctly, because it is going to be tracking like your player. If you're playing with your friend, you'll see your friend walking around. Shit. So with that said, and if there are objects that are moving, you will see them moving. Like, chances are I'm not going to be showing you the positions of monsters and shit like that though, so like Auto map reference. Okay, so the first thing I need to do if auto map reference is valid, delete that motherfucker. Is valid. I want you to delete it because you shouldn't be there. Auto map. Is valid, destroy. No, not destroy item. Thought that was a little weird. It should be destroy. Destroy actor. Alright. But if it's not valid, then I spawn a new one. Yeah, if it's a nil value, or if it's just something that can't be used by the engine, it'll check false, positive or false. You can double click to see this. Basically, it's like, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, but I use this valid an awful lot. It's one of the only ways you can avoid a lot of problems. So the first thing I do is check to see if it's null. If it's null, then I can create a new one. This way you can toggle it on and off. So like you can press M and delete it. I could do an additional check on the auto map itself to see if the player, you know, goes too far away or something like that, where like the player can't see it anymore. So you might as well just get rid of it, or maybe after a certain amount of time. But I don't even think that's necessary. But okay, so now the object is created, and now I want to run that function, add player marker, which really I think I should just rename that to like add everything. Player, here's the player pawn. All right, so I just fed it the player pawn. All right, this should do it. I should now have. You know, I'm not really sure. A lot of the time I'm doing like hard switches between maps. I'm not doing streaming, so garbage collection hasn't really been too much of a concern, because literally every time you leave the level, it just it clears everything that's invalid. But I don't know. I know that there's usually like a garbage collection. Collect garbage. Deletes all unreferenced objects, keeping only referenced objects. This will be queued and happen at the end of the frame. Yeah, I imagine that could be a pretty slow process. So far, I haven't run into too many problems with performance or memory issues or anything like that, so I haven't been too worried about it. But the player does switch between levels fairly often, and that pretty much is a garbage collection, I think, essentially. Unless I'm thinking about it wrong, or maybe misinformed about how the topic actually functions, but... Okay, so I add the player marker when I press M. Alright, so I'm going to go this way. I'm going to run out here. And I'm going to be like, gee, I wish I knew where I was. Press M. Here's the map. Oh. Whoa, it moved me. It's moving me! That was weird. It moved my player. Okay, what the fuck happened there? What did I just do? Oh my god. I moved the player. Whoops. It moved by an unknown force. I was wondering because, for instance, Lua uses garbage collection to determine whether a value is nil or not. Seems more efficient. With this, I'm not really sure, honestly. I just don't know. I think I might need to actually shrink the level even more. 0.05 is still not enough. Maybe 0.025 might be better. Well, anyway, let me not move the player. Uh, let's see. When did I? Oh yeah. Okay. I need to set the. No, no. So I only moved the player the first time. Or did I? Interesting. Did I move the player? It was nothing but, well, I don't see anything here actually moving the player. Was it my imagination? I was going to finish typing that until I bumped the enter key. Rip. Okay, hold on a second. I set the map. Oh god, it moved me. Wait, did it move? Did it really move me? How did it? Alright, so I'm standing right here. I'm staring at that door. It moved me. Alright, well, anyway. Oh! Something got collision. Why you got collision, man? Mini-Me has a collision. Look at me going up these stairs. I'm going up this way. Going up. Now I just want to zoom out, though. I need to make this closer to the ground. Delete. Alright, I'm going to start another one somewhere else. This time I'm here. I should be right there. It moved me. Yeah, make it a hologram. Yeah, I could totally do that. Actually have it like spawn like underneath you and just like have this like hologram. Oh my god. Yeah, this might actually end up having to be smaller because this is a really tiny level and this is actually taking up a lot of space. Like the dark base is fucking huge compared to this, and like you actually need to kind of like walk around. So I'm gonna have to make this even smaller. I'm thinking I'm gonna cut the size in half and I'm gonna drop it lower to the ground. So this will be 30. I'm gonna fuck it. I'm gonna make it 40. 40 down, right? And also fucking collision on the player marker. Yeah, it waits the first 3 seconds. Where am I setting the player's location? Should only be moving the... Well, anyway, I need to make sure that this thing has no fucking collision, because this component is like freaking me out with its collision going on here. Collision. You know what's bad about this though? Is that the way it's set up right here is that it's gonna have collision for like a split second or something. That's gonna really. These emotes suck compared to the Twitch ones. Wait, what I miss? Yeah, that is a pretty sucky emote. At least they're not cancer like the Twitch ones. If I see K Kappa 1, I'm yeah, there haven't been any Kappas. I haven't experienced that That'll be a weird experience, actually. Collision. I don't think that I'll ever have a stream that is that popular where like people are like spamming shit. There's something broke at that point logically, because like I don't think dev streams ever really get that crazy. If there are dev streams out there that get like crazy enough where people are like hyping and stuff, like I could see some dev streams maybe where it's like a popular game maybe. I don't know. So that's why you're always so happy. I just feel good. I got my coffee. I'm doing stuff I like to do. Now I have to figure out how the fuck I am moving the player. Where is the player? Do you guys see it? Like, am I missing something here? That's the player marker, right? I'm setting that. Latchend and Friends is a dev stream with a lot of viewers. You see, you observe the player, and now you're getting spooky action at a distance because, oh god, come on, common man basic physics. When programming makes a classical device as complex as a quantum one, he makes it a bit of a show though. Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, this is the best I can do. Like I can't possibly imagine like being like this into like the game, like making the game actually happen, and like and fucking like and also be a streamer. Holy shit, man! That's like 5 jobs. That's 5 full-time fucking jobs. 10 jobs. 10 jobs. I'm just making up numbers. It's whatever I feel like at this moment. Jobs. Potentially infinite jobs. Quantum jobs. Ooh, quantum jobs. Schrodinger's jobs. Yeah. That's cool. And that's really all I want. Alright, so I set this. This moves down. So, whatever happens to move the player, I think the reason why the player is moving is because this motherfucker has collision. That's it. So I need to have a special static mesh that... I can make little static meshes that are, like little chess pieces or something. For the player, I don't know. Make the player marker or something. Maybe it would probably be better just to have like an arrow or or like a little blip. I like the blip, actually. But the reason why I was moving, I think, is because I was colliding with the box. Maybe I was standing on it. It's possible, actually. So like if I go over here, does it set me? There it is. Doesn't look accurate. Alright, I should be like right over here. Maybe I'm 1, 2, 3. Should be lined up. That should be lined up. I should be right at the entrance. I guess I added one too many or something like that. Playing... What's Ocuplock? And programming on your second monitor at the same time. What is Ocuplock? I'm gonna look that up. What is that? That's probably something I should know. Alright. This is neat. Well, so far I'm not seeing myself in walls or anything like that. Alright. Because, like... Now here's my problem, is, like, you could put the map in a wall. Yeah, but I'm lined up right here, like I'm going into the doorway. This is a map of the level. What? Acapulco is the hardest Doom map? 23,000 enemies and most are fought a couple thousand at a time. Don't play it with GZ Doom though, the lag is real. PR Boom Plus is the only way to go. I think I might skip on that. That sounds insanity. That just sounds like 23,000. I don't want to do 23,000 of anything unless it's a bowl of rice. Let's see. Maybe a bowl of rice. That's even a lot for a bowl of rice. That's a fucking bowl. That's a fucking bowl of rice, man. Alright. You know, I could make this look a little fancier. Like, just spruce it up. Have, like, little side pieces. I need to get a material for it, though. Like, what do you guys think I should do for the material? Only like 3 people have UV maxed it legitimately. Shish. This is one of those things where it's like you have to kind of like fuck around with it for a little while to really get an idea of what you want to see. So let me go upstairs. My question is though, is like Hermes boots. So I should be up here. Yeah. There I am. I think it still needs to be even lower to the ground. Let's try making it too low. Let's go 60. Kind of funny running around with only a grenade launcher. Alright, I'm gonna jump up on this. Here's my map. Yeah. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to position the map so that when you press the map, forward is forward. Yeah, transparent blue color would be really good. I could probably just do something simple like that. But I'm really thinking like, how do I make this feel good? Because right now when I spawn it, I'm at the center. It rotates based on my rotation, but it doesn't feel right. I think what I need to do is place the marker first and then move it like all in one frame and then move it so that my marker is where I'm currently standing. Yeah, and then end facing. Right? Fuck, I think I can make it even lower. I'm gonna spawn it even lower. Negative, okay, let's make it 80. It's 20 more. I want this thing just hovering sort of slightly off the ground. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, yes, that's not correct. I need to get the position of the marker and place the entire object at that location. Sort of a fucking exhibit meme. I heard you like positional data, so I put positional data in your positional data. The thing is that if I don't do it that way though, like, then it's gonna feel really disorienting, right? Like, if I'm facing this direction, I should see the level, a miniature version of the level in front of me that leads to where I'm looking, right? That's just gonna be how it, right? Like, yeah, okay, so how am I gonna math that? So I get... What if you get the differences between the middle marked position and the marker dot, then add each of the differences onto the transform? In the middle marked position, the marker dot. I guess ultimately what it needs to do is place the map at my feet in exactly the position of the map marker. So I guess... Fuck. I don't know. Hold on a second. I mean, I need to place that positional marker sooner anyway. Like, that's kind of annoying that it doesn't... I could just make this a function. Okay, and I'll call this set map marker location update. So ultimately this is going to just do more than the player references, but this will update anything that's moving around. But I think the player reference is probably one of the only things that gets updated regularly. Alright. It's also a little bit nicer because I can make sure that this happens right away. So that should at least give me the map marker right away. And then maybe I'll have to reorient, because like right now that's all this is right here is grabbing the player reference and getting that actor rotation. And then just breaking the transform so that it spawns and moves the object. Right, so this is the object being spawned and moved. Maybe I could yeah. I'm just getting the player reference multiple times here. I could probably just make that another function as well. I don't know, let's see. I guess I could just add them together, yeah. I mean, that would pretty much be it, right? Just add them together. No, that wouldn't cause an interpolation. Oh no, that would cause something else, wouldn't it? No, my brain's got. I guess my brain's not working very well at the moment, but kind of hungry actually. Huh. Okay, so like, I should see the dot right away. Okay, now the dot's at least in the right spot. As soon as I bring the map up, there's the dot. Now the position of this. Yeah, I need to position the entire actor based on what the position of that dot is. All right. The rotation is relatively easy because I can just use the rotation of the map marker. Maybe no, actually, yeah, that's not as easy as I think it is either. This is one of those things too, like where I can come up with this like weird way of coming up with like a solution for a problem, but then this is like one of the places where if I was a programmer, if I was much more programmer minded, this would be easy. Like Carmack probably shits this shit out for breakfast. Nobody shits stuff out for breakfast. That's terrible. It's the worst analogy I've ever said in my entire life. I don't know, man. It's one of those things. This is one of those things. Map marker's location. Well, at least, let's see, I go through all of this. This is add static mesh component, make sure it has no collision. Alright. How would I move an actor so that a component orients itself correctly to the player's position and rotation? Yeah, it does this before it even orients itself. Then I can grab the map marker. It would be here. Fucking hell, man. Dynamic middle point. I'm brain farting on this one. It's a simple, I'm sure it's a very simple calculation, honestly. But I'm just like thinking, maybe I'm overthinking it. So, alright, so now I have the map marker. Get 0. Alright, and now this has its fucking position. Get oh. Grab the object based on the position of a component. Place the object so that the component lines up with I don't know. I wonder if you guys are probably already, oh man, why don't you just figure it out? It's so easy. Man. So like, out of curiosity, what happens if I do this? This is probably gonna totally break everything. Yeah, I don't even know where it is. Wow, that's probably at the center of the world or something. Well, I have the position of the object itself, and I can get it oriented to the player's rotation and everything like that. But the question is, how do I place the object so that the component lines up? That's like crazy. That's actually kind of tough to solve. But if I solve this one thing, then it's really not that complicated. I think I could probably get the rest all working very quickly at that point, and it wouldn't even be that much of a difficult thing. So like, update map markers would just account for like level exits. Basically, I'm just gonna place the special map hints objects that have text on them, and that's it. And like, they'll just be whatever text I want them to be. Keep the Z the same. It's probably. Let's see what happens with. That's weird. Put it all the way over there. It's oriented on a point 25, 0.025. Okay. You know, this one might actually be enough for me to have to go to the forums or something, or maybe ask about it on I don't know, on Discord maybe. It's an interesting problem because I get the original position of the object. Alright, and I get that. Now I know where the map marker 0 is. Right? Man, that's killing me. On that note, though, I can at least make a material. Something that I can try and just get that in there. So, automap, I'm going to create a material. Yes. A 3 vector. Alright, and I'm gonna make you blue. Which is... I think I'll probably go with like a real bluish blue. Maybe that's even too much. And I'll make you additive. Right? That means opacity. I'm going to be a 1 vector. A constant. Probably just set this as an emissive color. Right? This is a real simple material. No light, unlit. And then right now it's I'll do 2.5. Let's try 1.0. Alright. If you can draw me a picture of this, man, that would be really helpful, because this is actually a real tough one to solve, but like I'm sure it's really simple. Like it's just kind of above my math. Bacon from your buns. Monster Cat, what? How many components are there for this? These are all separate objects. So this is very efficient static mesh. This is as efficient as static meshes can be in the world. I'm still going. How many objects were there? There's not that many. This is kind of nice actually, because it lets me like choose. Or maybe I can like do different colors for different floors and stuff. I feel like it. I don't know. Jesus. There's probably an easier way. Jeez. I went through every single one of these things. Alright. Alright. Add maybe just a tiny bit of a glow to that material. World position offset. But two-sided look good. I wonder what happens if I grab the... Set relative rotation. Set relative rotation. Get actor rotation. Oh. Of course, it's not going to be easy to see the fucking relative rotation if it's a sphere, but... Yeah, get a little bit of a glow going on with that. Alright, at this point, I think I'm actually kind of starting to get hungry enough where I need to, like, do something. But, maybe I'll wait a little bit longer, because Red Zone, that picture might be really helpful. Actually, do like an additive. What happens if this is like 10? It glows, okay. 20. Oh shit. Yeah, I gotta fix the fucking, like, not being able to post links on this. Alright. Okay. Let's see if I can get this link right. Mgur.com. Got rid of the dot. Really? Okay. Really? You think that'll do it? So, like, okay. Subtract? No. Just subtract. Oh, is it just regular subtraction? That's weird. Alright, so I'm looking at it now. So basically, so I have the break vector on the top and the break vector on the bottom. So that's the player and then the marker location, right? What's this subtract node? I've never seen one before like that. Is it just a regular subtraction? Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually kind of stumped on this. So I think what I'm gonna do, because I want to get this, I'm gonna go on the forums. I'm gonna ask about this. But I'm also kind of hungry, and I think that's kind of fucking with me a little bit, because it's like making it harder for me to think. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna, oh, shit, it was 3 hours and 30 minutes. So like subtract. Like that? I mean, and don't bother with. So kind of like this, right? Seems kind of like black magic to me. So like that? I mean, we could try. I'm not even sure, like. Wait, hold on a second. Is this consistent? Ah. Okay. That orientation looks pretty close. But it's rotating forward is this way. Huh. The rotation is sort of weird. I don't know. Yeah, that's tough. I think I'm gonna have to call it a night for now. Or well, no, I'm not calling it a night. I'm gonna continue working on this, but I need to have something. I need to have something to eat, and I need to refresh my mind for a minute and kind of like think about it. Because I'm willing to bet that this is actually not that crazy. Alright. I mean, that places the object centered on me. And then I need to... Well, really what I need to do is I need to get the map marker position. That's the relative position. Get world location. Honestly, the world location thing should work. Now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, it's the world location of that object. Can try additive. I imagine it's probably just going to be the same thing, but in a different direction. Well, actor location is world location is. Yeah. Actor location is the world location. The actor reference. See, this is a local object and this is a world object. The actor is a world object. And the component is a local object. So their orientation is this one's orientation is relative based on default scene route, and this one's split. With that said, if I get the world location of this object, that object should, like, I should have the coordinates in the world of that object, of this component. Even if it's relative, that is the world location of that object. So I have the world location of both objects. So honestly, Yeah, this should work. Like, why isn't this actually working? So I'm setting this object's location. This is going to be like converting the mouse location on screen to a GUI drawn in world at specific coordinates. Yeah. I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. This is probably so simple for somebody to figure out. I don't know. With that said, I think I gotta end the stream. I gotta fucking get some food. I gotta like refresh my mind and think about this from a fresh perspective. Because if I can get this right, then the other steps to making the minimap work are relatively simple. Because it's just, yeah, like you have this thing appear underneath you. It's a fucking diorama of the level, and there'll be like text, like other blips that are text on them, and like those will be the exits and entrances and exits of the levels. In fact, I'll just make map marker class, and it just finds all of them and places them in the correct spots, and there'll be hints basically. So I can have one for the fabricator, I can have one for the level exit, I can have one for the home point. It'll be so easy. And I can even make them look kind of fancy. I can have like graphics for the exits and stuff like that. And like, there it is. And then I can have it automatically turn off when you walk out of range. Like it checks every 3 seconds. If you walk out of range of it, it just shuts off. And then you can just generate another one. It's like, it's so dirt simple, but it's so good. Like, this is a fucking map. I mean, that's a really good map. I just need to get this so that it spawns in the correct position. Well, if I get the orientation correct, I can actually spawn it a little bit higher up so that it looks like this, like the only reason why I want it to be down is because I don't want like enemies, like if you're fighting enemies or something like that, like I want you to be able to shoot and kind of like, okay, you know what I mean? I don't want it to like spawn in front of enemies, but it could be oriented a little bit differently. But I like the idea that it's kind of like in the Division where you just see it, a diorama of the map, and there it is. Like, okay, all right, so there's a place over here. There's a spot I haven't explored yet over here yet, you know. So it's really easy to orient. Like I think people are going to be able to orient themselves very well to this kind of a map. And getting lost is like not even going to be a thing. It's like going to be impossible to get lost if you have a map like this. The only drawback that this map has is that I can spawn it in a wall. Or not. Because it's not orienting right now. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and be like, all right. Yeah. If I can, see, it should be rotated that way. Actually, hold on a second. Maybe all I need to do is get the orientation correct, the rotation. If the rotation is correct, then you'll be looking down at your icon. Will be on the screen. Yeah, your icon will always be right here, or right here. So I don't need to reorient it based on that. I just need the rotation to be correct. So how do I Oh, hold on a minute. What happens if I do nothing? If its orientation is exactly what it is in the world. Wait, is the solution to this to do nothing? No, alright, hold on a second. So, I'm looking this way. Alright. I know that there's stuff going on over there. No, not really. Damn it. I was thinking maybe it would work. But it spawns you at the center. It does kind of need to be kind of like this, like, or maybe it could just spawn in front of you. I could force it to just spawn in front of you, or wherever your crosshair is. Be like, boom. Have it draw out a trace and just spawn it there like that. I wonder how that would feel. Actually, it might just come down to this trying a few different things and seeing what works. Like, what if it just spawns in front of you? I do kind of like that it's that if I don't change the rotation at all, it's always correct. And just draw a trace so that it's like right there. Have it like just spawn in front of you. Yeah. So it would spawn like this basically. Yeah, I could do that. Have it be based on like the distance to the dot. So like this is kind of weird. Honestly, this is pretty weird. But like, okay, I need to figure out where I need to go next. Yeah, if it didn't spawn at my feet, if it spawned in front of me, it would probably be pretty acceptable. Like, the fact that it doesn't reorient actually, well, I mean, why would it ever need to? Forward will always be forward. All right. All right. I gotta like refresh my mind on this because I have a feeling that the solution is actually very simple. And like the next thing I'm gonna try is just like spawning it in front of the player. But I gotta call the stream for now because it's time to think about some kind of noms. I need some foods. But I think the mini map is gonna be pretty interesting. I think I'll have it fully functional by the end of the night for sure because most of the other stuff is really simple. Just like I'm just gonna have it like search for a bunch of map markers, objects, and I'm just gonna have like a text string assigned to them, and then that'll be that. Like, you'll have the ability to navigate the levels and do all that. Yeah, take it easy, Red Zone. And I guess Gunslinger is probably. All right, take it easy, guys.